Thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Nolin Ebel Ame with the news. We begin from Ado Ekiti, where 55-year-old political scientist Biodun Abayomi Oyebanji has been sworn in as the 5th executive governor of Ekiti State. The oath of office and allegiance was administered by the state chief judge. Also sworn in is the deputy governor Monisha De Afoyi. The governor, who was elected under the platform of the All Progressives Congress APC, highlighted a 6-point agenda to drive the new administration's development plan. Born in Ikogosi, Ekiti West local government area of the state, Biodun Oyebanji, a former academic, farmer and public servant until his election as governor, was the secretary to the government of Ekiti State. The Emir of Zazzau in Kaduna State, Ambassador Ahmed Nuhu Bamali, has called on politicians in the country to conduct their electioneering campaigns in a respectful manner and dwell on issues which will improve welfare of citizens. This was when the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, paid him a homage. Tina Turo reports.
The presidential candidate, accompanied by some state governors, visited the Emir to felicitate with him on his 2-year anniversary. Emir Ahmed Nuhu Bamali said it is part of his responsibilities to remind political leaders on the need to promote peace and harmony in the country. He said the ongoing electioneering campaigns must be devoid of libelous statements, character assassination among various contenders.
That is our desire, that is our preference. What we need at this point is security of the country, improve economy, and also peaceful coexistence as one indivisible country.
While saluting the Emir for the sustenance of peace in Kaduna State, the APC presidential candidate said there is great lesson in peaceful coexistence. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu said there are a lot of inspirations to be drawn from traditional institutions for the country to forge ahead. He appealed to traditional rulers not to relent in providing useful advice to all manner of people. In Zaria, Tina Turu, NTA News.
Embracing new economic global order which places premium on private sector-driven economy has been recognized as vital in national growth. Presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, says any nation desirous of development must allow private sector play significant role in its economic blueprint. Umar Ajingi reports.
The week-long activity put together by the Kaduna State government to provide conducive environment for investors in the state remains a platform for the APC presidential candidate to make far-reaching pronouncements as it affects national economy. He noted that private sector participation in the economic development remains a priority.
This is why it is important for the government to give maximum support and incentive to the private sector. I am APC candidate. No problems on those data. I give you a short time. That's there.
He He said as candidate seeking presidential position is not taking private sector for granted. Bola Tinubu applauded Kaduna State government for its vision to come up with this idea. Governor Nasru Ahmed El-Rufai described Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a visionary leader with fresh ideas that will move the country to a higher pedestal of development. In Kaduna, Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
Similarly, presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Prince Adewale Adebayo, says poverty reduction and economic rejuvenation will remain cornerstone of his campaign promises. He was speaking in Kaduna while interacting with party supporters in Kaduna. Mohammed Baba reports.
The party's presidential candidate was in Kaduna to engage members of his political platform on the need to close ranks and face challenges before them. Prince Adebayo said his aspiration to contest office of the president is born out of his desire to contribute his quota in nation building.
So our generation must take another challenge. And that challenge is to remove poverty once and for all. 30 years ago, MK Abiola, Alhaji MK Abiola was here campaigning against poverty. Said farewell to poverty. Now, 30 years after, I am here saying I'm campaigning against poverty. That is not progress. We must make progress. Vote for SDP. Let us remove poverty once and for all.
He appealed to his supporters to campaign vigorously for the party to win all elections. In Kaduna, Muhammad Baba, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the amalgamation of interest groups in the north have engaged presidential candidates to set agenda for rapid socio-economic and political development through a sustainable roadmap aimed at addressing national problems. 18 presidential candidates are expected to interact with the groups. Suleiman Rigachiku reports.
We up north here want to be taken very seriously.
It is a heart-to-heart interface between leaders of the Arewa Joint Committee, comprising the Arewa Consultative Forum, Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation, Center for Historical Research and Documentation, Jam'iyyar Matar Arewa, the Arewa Elders Forum, with presidential candidates of People's Democratic Party, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, presidential candidate of the People's Redemption Party, Kola Abiola, and that of the Social Democratic Party, Prince Adewale Adebayo. The candidates took turn to present their plans for resolving critical issues of unity, insecurity challenges, industrialization, poverty, and educational backwardness as they affect the northern region and the country as a whole.
I am optimistic with a reasonably responsible and just leadership that can give every part of this country a sense of belonging. We will achieve and we can achieve nationhood.
It is our cardinal belief in the People's Redemption Party, and one we hold very dearly, that such in Nigeria is in the collective and individual best interest of all its citizens.
So we have agriculture, agricultural land. Second, we have water, river basins. And it doesn't matter what time of the season, what time of the year, you can do all-round agriculture in Nigeria.
Nigeria, they say, needs collective engagement to resolve challenges militating against its progress and social upliftment. This is the first time institutions and socio-cultural groups in northern Nigeria engage presidential candidates on their plans and programs for the country ahead of general elections. More presidential candidates are scheduled to appear before the committee for similar interaction. Suleiman Rigachikun, NTA News.
Still on political news, consolidating developmental legacies and democratic credentials of the APC government is a patriotic obligation upon well-meaning Nigerians. This is the message of Arewa Youth for Tinubu and Shetima 2023 as the group rolls out the drums in Kano to mobilize 5 million votes for the APC presidential candidate in the forthcoming election. Muhammad Ali reports.
The Solidarity Movement brought together Arewa Youth Support Groups, Professional Women Council, and city boys from the 19 northern states. They are in Kano to chart a course for the broad-based mobilization of the electorate towards ensuring convincing victory for Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Shetima come 2023.
We feel it is only right for us to select a state in the north and bring the youth from the 19 northern states to come together and make a statement of the endorsement of our candidates down to the local government candidates we have.
So Asiwaju Shetima 2023, it shows that these are the kind of people that we need at this critical time to fix our country, to fix our infrastructure, to make sure that this country is secure for average Nigerians.
I'm calling the support groups to use want to tell them methodology of 1 to tell 10, 10 to tell 100, 100 to tell 50. If we use this methodology, inshallah, we will conquer all the eligible votes across the Nigeria.
So we see Kano as one of the major places where these votes can come out from. So that is why we are here in Kano today to seek for the support of the Arewa youth to be part of us to mobilize these 5 million votes for Bola Ahmed Asiwaju in the upcoming 2023 elections.
The group assured Nigerians that casting their ballots for Tinubu Shetima in the forthcoming presidential election is the surest guarantee towards upholding and consolidating upon the development legacies and democratic.
In another development, following commencement of campaigns by political parties towards the 2023 general elections, Nasarawa State Police Command has charged actors to be guided by the rules. The State Police Commissioner Adeshina Shoyemi handed down the caution at an interactive session with political parties in the state. Achigali Magaji reports.
Nasarawa, just like many states in the country, has had its fair share of political violence, sometimes with devastating outcome. The interactive session is to bring all the major actors on the same page as to the need to do things differently. This, the command say, it is adequately prepared for.
I want to advise and want to tell you that all political parties and actors must do their campaign within extant legal rules, avoid actions or speeches that will inflame the political order.
For the electoral umpire INEC, there is no other option than to bequeath free, fair and credible elections to Nigerians.
Political parties must present their itinerary of campaigns so that there will be no clash. This is in line with the provisions of Section 91, subsection 4 of the Electoral Act 2022.
Representatives of registered political parties in the state assured of their commitment to peaceful process spanning entire campaigns and the elections. There are a total of 18 registered political parties for the 2023 general elections in Nigeria. Achigili Magaji, NTA News.
In other news, the National Broadcasting Commission has noted with concern the illegal action of Zamfara state government directing the shutdown of operations of licenses of the commission in the state on Saturday, October 15, 2022. In a statement signed by the Director General Balarabe Shehu Ilela, NBC clearly notified the state government gravity action and requested it to expeditiously reverse the directive and apologize to people of the state. NBC also urges security agencies to ignore call to restrict staff of the affected stations from conducting their legitimate duties. It further emphasized that it will resist any attempt to cause breach of law and order anywhere through the misuse of the broadcast media in Nigeria before, during and after the 2023 national elections. The Commission urges aggrieved person or institution with genuine complaints arising from unprofessional conduct or action of any licensed broadcaster in Nigeria to follow laid-down processes enshrined in the Nigeria Broadcasting Code, adding that it will discharge its mandate according to the NBC Act, Cap. and to laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. Adiola is in Lagos, but meanwhile we shall take commercial now and later join her on Nationwide. Stay tuned.
The Nigerian electoral system is seemingly simple, yet may be complicated for some.
It's for them to come and tell us what they have.
Running an election is equivalent to what? A job application.
I want him to identify the issues plaguing the common Nigerians.
PDP should focus on PDP and APC should focus on APC.
Let's show you what an election is all about, as Nigerians pick the next president, governors and legislators. We interrogate their plans, question the rationale and review the prospects. Join us, the ballot.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, CFR, invites all honorable ministers, head of the Civil Service of the Federation, permanent secretaries, and top government functionaries to a 2-day midterm ministerial review retreat to be presided by His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The retreat is scheduled as follows. Date, Monday 17th to Tuesday 18th October 2022. Venue, State House Conference Center, Presidential Villa, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. daily. The objectives of the third-year ministerial performance review retreat include the following. Review the performance of ministries in delivering the ministerial mandates signed in 2019. Identify and propose solutions towards resolving key impediments to implementation and re-strategize on how to accelerate the delivery of results along the 9 priority areas of the administration, especially as it is winding down. Accreditation of participants for the retreat will commence at the venue on Saturday 15th and Sunday 16th October 2022 from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. each day. Attendance is mandatory and strictly by invitation. Please note that there will be rapid COVID-19 tests for all participants at the accreditation venue on Saturday and Sunday. Announcer James Sule, Permanent Secretary, Cabinet Affairs Office, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
Good morning, Nigeria. Year after year, they have been informed, educated, and entertained of when you needed information, knowledge, or an escape.
From generation to generation, the Nigerian broadcasting industry has worked tirelessly to serve you.
And now, this service will finally be recognized.
Right?
This November, broadcasters all over Nigeria will gather for the maiden edition of the Nigerian Broadcasting Awards, an award ceremony set to reward hard work and unflinching excellence in the broadcast media. They have served and are still serving. It's time to say thank you. This award is organized by the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON. For more details, log on to www.tnawards.ng and follow our social media handles at TNP Awards.
I don't know why you brought me to that place. You let me?
Bala?
Hold me right there. Give me that. I spoke to her, so tell me. Look, women need a bit of tapping. Don't tell me you're one of those men that beat their wives.
You sleeping? Super story, super story, super story. This is super story.
to watching Nationwide, and this is Lagos. 75,000 agric extension agents across the country are benefiting from a capacity building program organized by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Musa Toliat reports that Lagos State Agricultural Development Authority is collaborating with the federal government to ensure the success of the training program in Lagos.
Capacity building program for the 75,000 agric extension agents is being conducted simultaneously across the country. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mohammed Abubakar, who was represented, said the training is designed to empower participants with requisite skills in the use of extension delivery methodologies and tools to boost agricultural value chains in states across the country.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture realized this anomaly and has decided that extension agents should be trained and retrained so that they will be equipped with enough knowledge.
By the time we do monitoring and evaluate, it's the farmer that will tell us what they've been able to gain. And during the visits, we will see the physical impacts.
Okay, at the end of the training, the participants should have more knowledge on rice production, on livestock, poultry keeping, on aquaculture, and on extension methodology.
The training also seeks to address decline in national agricultural extension delivery as a result of retirement and non-replacements of aging extension agents, as well as youth unwillingness to embrace entrepreneurship in agriculture and general poor funding in the subsector.
Retraining the extension officer is just like adding fuel to an existing engine that will ignite more productivity on the field.
Training you have might become a cake that is old. You have gone to farmers severally, giving them the same thing, but when they have more training, new ones every time, they will have more to disseminate to farmers.
At the end of the training, the extension agents are expected to utilize the knowledge gained to enhance service delivery to farmers in terms of production practices and equipment for technical support. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Providing requisite infrastructural facilities for standard school setting has remained topmost priority for members of the Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association. This was again evident when the president of NAOWA inaugurated structures at the NAOWA Model Nigerian Primary School in Ojo and 9th Brigade Ikeja. Lynn Lenake has the details.
For members of the armed forces, their goal is peace and security. On several battlefields, this mission is being undertaken with planning, precision, and coordination. And as such, sustaining these successes require economic and social security for families of these heroes in camouflage, which is why the Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, NAOWA, has dedicated its mission to upscaling the economic and educational fortunes of its members. This 500-seater multipurpose hall, a block of 6 classrooms, and ICT center in the NAOWA Model Nursery and Primary School in Ojo and 9th Brigade Ikeja stands as testimonials.
The building will make learning conducive for me and my classmates.
The wife of the governor of Lagos State, Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, applauds the leadership of NAOWA for the vision.
A clear demonstration of commitment to the education of the younger generation.
We resolved to name the newly constructed 500-seater multipurpose hall here as the NAOWA Multipurpose Hall, in dedication to all the NAOWA heroines that have left their mark in the annals of providing quality education to our children.
At the event, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, who was represented, pledged that more would be done to increase the number of beneficiaries.
This project and the overall objective of Nigerian infrastructure and human development.
The Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association has over the years empowered its members through entrepreneurship, vocations, and training. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
And we're done with our contribution from Lagos. Nolene is back to you for more Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Adiola.
The House of Representatives Committee on Ecological Fund on a working visit to Akwa Ibom State has urged states and local governments to judiciously use monies received from the fund on projects meant to avert natural disasters like flood. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The meeting between members of the House of Representatives Committee on Ecological Fund and officials of the Akwa Ibom State Ministry of Environment was to review efforts of the state government on related projects and look at areas of improvement. Akwa Ibom State is among states in Nigeria that have put up effective defenses against flooding with allocations received from the Ecological Fund.
We commissioned the biggest flood control project in Nigeria, the IPP flood control project in Nigeria. Yes, that project cuts across 18 communities in 3 local government areas.
The best method of emergencies or risk is elimination. And this has come to mind, that you tackle averting disasters rather than allowing it to occur before you start struggling to mending them.
The 36 states, all local government areas and the FCT benefit from the fund. The House of Representatives has passed a bill seeking an increase of allocation to all states of the Federation from the Ecological Fund. The committee stressed that such funds should be channeled to address natural and man-made disasters that affect the environment. Lami Ali, NTA News.
Still staying with the environment, as the Global Climate Change Conference in Egypt draws near, Minister of Environment Mohammed Abdullahi says Nigeria will build partnerships to help its emissions reduction targets, address adaptation, mitigation and financing for energy transition plans. Onengie Fineface reports.
Global climate has been changing with devastating effects as a result of human activities. Extreme weather events are impacting the world in no small measure, and Nigeria is hard hit with floods in more than 30 states. In a few weeks, the world will gather in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, to pursue actions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, fueling climate change. Nigeria will participate with a low emissions vision, energy transition plan, emission trading scheme, climate change act, and a national action plan setting the pace for a carbon trading framework.
The country's COP27 priorities will focus on exploring options for climate finance and building partnerships that will drive the country's emission reduction ambitions, adaptation, and climate change mitigation. The focus will be a sustainable funding mechanism that drives nature-based solutions such as land restoration, reforestation.
Nigeria will also be part of the Leaders Summit, hold bilateral meetings and green investment forums at COP27 in Egypt. Onengie Fineface, NTA News.
African leaders are looking to address issues of youth unemployment and underemployment as the global economy gets another hit by shocks and underlying fundamentals. Leah Katumba Batunde reports that the World Bank is driving a conversation around rebuilding robust economic growth with Africa as the focus.
The ambience is what every African could hope for, as saxophonist Cornel Thompson plays the tune to Nigeria's Whiskey Dials You Don't Need No Other Body. That set the tone for the state of the Africa region. Opportunities in a turbulent times session, as discussants focus on which sector will be the game changer for the continent.
The artists are the most honest and bravest people among us, who hold up a mirror to our conscience and show us what we're afraid to acknowledge.
If you look at the number of years that the average child goes to school, it's about 8.2 years. But if you look at the years in which they're really learning, given the poor quality of education systems, they're only learning 5 years. You know, that's something to be worried about. And then if you look at enrollment rates, particularly of teenage girls, you know, about a third of them who should be in secondary school are not.
The session took stock of global headwinds affecting the region, focusing on measures that can deliver big wins for food security and intra-regional trade.
And therefore we need to invest on reforms. Even in a period of crisis, reforms are required and are urgent.
We need to continue to build strong, efficient and accountable institutions.
They say never waste a good crisis because it made us African countries and African companies see an opportunity that really, should we not be much more self-reliant?
They even brought together officials of the World Bank, African policymakers, leaders, entrepreneurs, civil society and youth to chart a progress path for Africa amid rising global economic concerns. The implication here is that Africa holds the solution to her problems. From the headquarters of the World Bank in Washington, D.C., I'm Leah Katumbaba, NTA News.
Gabriel is in our Port Harcourt Network Center with more news on Nationwide. Good evening, Gabriel.
The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps River State Command has paraded 16 suspects in connection with suspected adulterated automotive gas oil, AGO, also known as diesel. The Commandant NSCDC River State Command paraded the suspects at the command headquarters, Port Harcourt. I was there. In its relentless war against pipeline vandalism and illegal dealings in petroleum products, the River State Command of the NSCDC made some breakthroughs again through massive arrest and seizure of some items. Commandant Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps River State Command Michael Oga paraded 16 suspects, seized items including 2 trucks, over 200 drums and sack bags, 3 SUVs, 5 salon cars, 5 local boats, all stacked with unspecified quantity of suspected adulterated automotive gas oil, AGO, while reiterating the command's zero tolerance for illegal bunkering activities in River State. He called on perpetrators to give up the game.
We assure you that we are not going to rest until we stop bunkering in River State, and assure that we are not going to compromise. And we also want our officers to turn a new leaf, to key into what the government wants. Government wants us to eradicate illegal bunkering in River State.
The NSCDC commandants led the news crew to where they uncovered buildings used as dump site for locally refined AGO along Ogbogoro and Eneka axis of River State. Out of the 16 suspects, 8 were apprehended by a Nigerian Navy Pathfinder, while the rest were arrested by the anti-vandal squad. Prior State Governor Senator Oyebanji is calling for collaboration with the federal government to construct a dam as a lasting solution to the perennial flooding challenge in the state. The governor assured flood victims in the state that his administration will do the needful to ameliorate their plight. This was contained in the 90th session of the weekly State Executive Council meeting briefing at the State Government House, Yenegua. Friday Wefe has the reports.
Presiding over the 90th Weekly State Executive Council meeting, Governor Oyebanji commended residents for their courage and steadfastness in the face of the ravaging flood, which has affected homes, offices, and business premises across the states. He assured victims of succor through relief materials and medicals, calling for collaboration between the state and federal government in constructing a dam as a lasting solution to the menace.
Our prayers are with our citizens, with our brothers, with our sisters who have been severely impacted by this flood. And I believe that each and every one of us, either directly or indirectly, have been impacted by this flood. And this is not very good times for our states and for our people.
Tienagua, Sagbama, Kolokuma, Upokuma, Ekeremo, and Ogba local government areas are mostly affected. The government will have post-flood plans to avert subsequent occurrence. Fred Uwefie, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Port Harcourt. Nationwide continues with Zainret in Jos after this break.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
What are we doing as a nation to first of all settle our teeming populace, especially
NTA's political package with a third eye on the nation's political scene? I am Fisa Ogunkuyi. Welcome.
You have to be very careful giving space to people who are obviously sponsored to further the agenda of some other groups.
There's a lot of questions. A lot of questions in a closed door sessions. Some of these issues, some of the problems bedeviling of their.
In fact, between June 1st and July 17th, 19-point-something billion has left the coffers of the NDDC.
I can say my constituency, they need everything because we don't have anything.
Thanks for staying with us on Nationwide and welcome to Jos. In compliance with the directive of the Inspector General of Police on election duties, Plateau State Commissioner of Police Bartholomew Onyeka has met with vigilantes and help groups on the 2023 general elections. Abba Bobakari Yakubu reports.
Here are representatives of the local security organizations in Plateau State that are actively assisting the conventional security in their local neighborhood patrol and ensuring crime-free society. The Commissioner of Police, who relayed the new directives, said only the police and other security personnel are allowed to be seen at political rallies, party offices, and any electioneering campaign.
We don't want a situation where certain mistakes will be made. So that is why it is good for only the government recognized security outfits take part in the election.
In their various responses, representatives of Plateau State Civilian Joint Task Force, Vigilante Group of Nigeria, Neighborhood Watch, and Professional Hunters Association assured the Commissioner of their full cooperation and loyalty.
Since the last 3 weeks ago, we are already seated together with my members.
We are going to do our best to make sure each and every member of Vigilante from the state down to unit got this information.
We are going to sit again and we are going to disseminate this information promptly.
And it is trying to make all these voluntary security organizations to be neutral.
The commissioner also advised on how to improve on their mode of operations and observe their mistakes in order not to endanger their lives in the course of carrying out their duties. In Jos, Abba Abubakar Yakubu, NTA News.
Jos University Teaching Hospital is establishing an emergency medicine unit as part of efforts to ensure effective healthcare services to the people. Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Poko Bupoda, said this while presenting equipment donated by the nurses to the hospital as Youth marks its Emergency Nurses Day. Ijoma Examiner reports that the theme for this year's celebration is Standing Strong.
Emergency Nurses Day seeks to recognize the extraordinary commitment and labor of emergency nursing professionals around the globe. Experts say as workers working under pressure, compassionate and have exceptional critical thinking skills.
It's a place where when a patient comes, you give the patient hope.
Most of the challenges we face is a lack of manpower and equipment that you can need in time of emergency to resuscitate patient or to save life.
Items donated to the hospital by the nurses include oxygen regulators and cylinders, multi-parameter patient stand, patient's gowns, washing machine, thermometer, as well as cubicle curtains. The chief medical director represented while presenting the equipment to the hospital says the bulk of the work in the hospital is performed by the nurses, hence the need for the emergency medicine unit and training of more staff.
This is a branch of medicine that takes care of patients that are in need of help within the shortest possible time.
We have made practical donation to the hospital in furtherance of the need to expand the scope of services in this hospital.
You meet with a lot of people with different kinds of illnesses. Everyone comes to a casualty.
In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
That's our package from Jos. Nationwide continues with Nolin in Abuja.
Very well, Zenrate. Welcome to Abuja. The federal government has identified short and long-term measures for mitigating flood disasters in the country, and the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has commenced implementation of the National Flood Emergency Preparedness and Response Plan recently approved by the Federal Executive Council. Musa Aliu reports.
The current humanitarian crisis being faced in the country as a result of flood has been described as the worst in decades. Intense rainfall, dam spilling, and overflowing of rivers were identified as the major factors responsible for the flood that resulted to the death of about 500 people in 31 states. And here is the Permanent Secretary, Minister for Humanitarian, Disaster Management and Social Development, highlighting measures taken to mitigate flood-related disasters.
We are very much aware of what is happening, and we are prepared to reduce the impact, and we are prepared also to make sure that those states that have not been affected yet, please get some relief.
On Lagdo Dam and its spilling, Dr. Gorozo said Nigeria and Cameroon had a memorandum of understanding on how the release of water from the dam would be done.
Necessary action is being taken, including bilateral talks almost on a daily basis. Beyond formal writing, we also have issues of communicating on telephone with them to make sure that things are coordinated.
He said NEMA has so far provided relief support to over 315,000 displaced persons across the flood disaster hotspots, where state capacities have been overwhelmed. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
Musa Aliu still reports that the United Nations has called on all member nations to adopt climate-smart agriculture as the only way to improve global food production and hunger eradication. Nigeria has, however, been commended for her food production policy in spite of the socio-economic and security challenges. His report now.
The global statistics compiled by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization indicates that 1 in 10 people globally are undernourished and more than 3 billion can't afford a healthy diet. In 2021, it was reported that hunger affected 278 million people in Africa, 425 million in Asia, and 56.5 million in Latin America and the Caribbean.
Today, 150 million more women than men are facing food insecurity.
Conflicts, climate change, and rising prices are all contributing to growing food insecurity around the world. The Food and Agriculture Organization says government should reevaluate their support to agriculture to help improve sustainable production of more nutritious food.
The four betters in this year's theme provide a pathway through which we can transform agri-food systems by implementing sustainable and holistic solutions that consider development in the long term, inclusive economic growth, and greater resilience.
Nigeria has significantly improved in meeting the populace's major food demands. The challenge, however, is that of high cost of the food items.
Sector.
Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar, the Minister of Agriculture, talked about government plans in making food available and affordable to Nigerians.
No country has ever really truly developed, no matter what, without first securing food. If you depend on anyone to give you food, you are in trouble as a country.
World Food Day is held on 16th October annually as a reminder that food insecurity and malnourishment remain widespread and mitigation should be paramount. Musa
Aliu's story there, and he still has more. On the occasion of World Food Day, Nigerian farmers have challenged politicians to specify how they will develop agriculture if elected into power come 2023, as the farmers recognize the positive impact of policy and programs of the present administration on food security. Musa Aliu still reports.
The 2022 Farmers' Day attracted low representation from states, local governments and development partners. The celebration often serves as a window to World Food Day that is marked on the 16th of October every year. In spite of the low turnout, the participants and the farmers had what is described as outstanding outing event.
Our cashew value chain stands for us. We're able to add value around it, bring it out in different forms.
We are working with over 20,000 farmers, producers, processors, and marketers, because that is what the VCDP does. The VCDP is a program that intervenes in the value chain of rice and cassava.
In spite of all the shocks due to insecurity, flooding, low purchasing power, the costs of inputs, especially fertilizers and all that in spite of all those, we are able to feed the 200 million mouths that are here now.
The traditional rulers, who are the custodians of culture, challenged politicians on the need to always consider the plight of farmers in their manifestos.
Now, politicians are out canvassing for positions in government. Let us corner these politicians. Let them tell us what their policy on agriculture is going to be.
The Food and Agriculture Organization has pledged to continue to support Nigerian farmers, especially in the areas of climate-smart agriculture. Musa Aliyu, NTA.
Talking ICT from Oshobo now, committed to the conduct of the first digitized census in Nigeria by 2023, the National Population Commission is planning to promote local technology inclusion by partnering local companies in Nigeria. The ICT team of the commission, led a federal commissioner from Adamawa State, Clifford Zira, visited an indigenous technology company in Ilesha, Osun State, for the purpose of deploying such indigenous technology for the national population census. Femi Afariogu reports.
The 2023 national census is few months away. In line with the directive of President Muhammadu Buhari to promote local technology for the first digitized census in the country, National Population Commission is scouting for local technology companies that will provide quality and durable devices for a credible exercise. The technology company situated at Ilesha, Osun State, is one of the indigenous companies the Commission is looking forward to partnering.
we are a pace setter. We are now going to conduct census, a digital census. And that is why we want to do it right, first time and always. And that is why we only want to associate ourselves with people who can give us value that can be able to improve our work.
They have perfect equipment and they are ready to do the job.
The company is given a window of 3 months for the production of tablets to be used for the proposed digitized 2023 National Population Census.
So if we are going to use 4 lines, knowing that this national assignment needs all that, we will be able to meet them where they want to be met.
Though deals have not yet been finalized, MPC has promised to ensure that the 2023 census is not only credible but a pacesetter for other African nations. From Ilesha, Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
Rural women are often excluded from decisions that affect their daily lives and unequal resource allocation. However, they remain fundamental within and outside their households. In this report, Adebola Bruslin takes a look at the plight of rural women as the United Nations marks 2022 International Day of Rural Women.
The United Nations sets aside the day to celebrate rural women who play key roles in agriculture production, land and resource management, and building climate resistance.
I call on all member states to bring rural women into decision-making fora so that our responses meet their specific needs.
In Nigeria, the women are also being celebrated in Abuja. This is not a conventional market, but a makeshift by rural women in commemoration of the 2022 United Nations International Day of Rural Women. From crop production to processing, preparation and food distribution, observers say women's labor, paid or unpaid, feed their family.
After buying the cassava, you peel it. Most of this garri they do outside, most of them they will just fry it and they will just sun it. Sun will dry the manure, but this one is no sun, it's direct dry from the fire.
Minister of State for the Federal Capital Territory, Ramatu Tijani, assured them of support for dry season farming, equipment and chemical fertilizers.
All and sundry that are able will be encouraged to purchase and buy off from all the farmers. This will ensure that they have value for money.
For the global body, poverty reduction, sustainable development and food security are not possible without optimal engagement of rural women, including the younger generation.
Because if you go to rural setting, you see a woman putting so much energy to farm, she will sell it within her community at little or no value. So bringing out this particular team for them this year will also expose them to many opportunities.
Cultivating good food for all is the focus of this year's celebration.
Adebola Bruslin's story there. And in Makudi, 206 road traffic crashes were recorded, leaving 1,248 persons with various degrees of injuries and 89 deaths from January to September this year. Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Benue State, Ibrahim Abubakar says it is not unconnected with overspeeding and unsafe practices. Simbiat Abaji reports.
Months are usually associated with increase in vehicular and human traffic. In an attempt to maximize economic gains, especially as the year comes to an end, drivers tend to overspeed in order to make as many trips as possible, thereby leading to increase in road traffic crashes. According to statistics by the Federal Road Safety Corps Benue State Command, speed is the #1 cause of road traffic crashes, with 206 cases recorded, leading to the loss of 89 lives between January to September 2022. Sector Commander, FRSC Benue State, Ibrahim Abubakar says measures must be put in place to prevent these crashes, hence the need for the Ember Months campaigns.
We assure them that within this period of Unitide, then there is going to be a mobile court Mobile court here are going to be instituted throughout the period in order to check the menace, excesses of our drivers, especially in overloading, speeding, and also use of bad tires.
Stakeholders at the event lauded the initiative and appealed to members of the public to cooperate with relevant agencies while they discharge their duties.
Where the need arises for you to reprimand, you reprimand. Where the need arises for the leaders of the union to be contacted, will be readily available to hear from you. To appeal to the leaders to abide by all the rules and regulations, we are the way to avoid road crashes, because obedience to traffic rules must be of help to every citizen.
The theme for this year's campaign is Avoid Speeding, Overloading and Unsafe Tires to Arrive Alive, geared towards achieving zero death or injury this period. In Makudi, Simbiat Agbaji, NTA News.
Next up is Sports Update.